In reality, we also talk about, we also include, because exchange rate depends on not only inflation and interest rate, but also depends on income level, government controls, and expectations. Expectation include political stability, right? Like what United States has experienced in recent month, the election, there was political instability, and if you see the graph for US dollar, it will be very fluctuating and mostly negative as well, because there was instability who will win, and if the Trump will win, there is some kind of negativity. If Biden will win, there's some kind of positivity. Right now, and then when the result announced, you see the dollar is going to be upward. It going to be like appreciating, because expectations play also role in exchange rate as well, right? So, but in reality, interest rate also depends on inflation as well. So I hope you already studied in finance that interest rate nominal is equal to real interest rate, inflation, default risk premium, country risk premium. If we talk about the country, then we talk about the maturity risk premium. There are many other factors, right? So interest rate also depends on somewhat depends on inflation as well. So the international future effect, it it says that base your decision on the basis of PPP. So IFE and PPP, they are closely related. Both have the same decision rule. So let's talk about the third one, implication for non-US currencies. It is that, let me just, okay. The IFE theory can be applied to any exchange rate, even exchange rates that involves two non-US currencies as well. So whichever has the highest interest rate, not just dollar, whichever currency has the highest, or whichever country has the highest interest rate, it means that country's currency will depreciate according to IFE, right? But I told you, if real interest rate is higher, then its currency will appreciate. Understand? But question will mention that the real interest rate is higher in that country. So you see, we have the exhibit that shows the international future effect from various investor perspective. So we have here 3 countries, an investor in Japan. You see that interest rate is expected in inflation differential is that. So here, Japan, United States, and Canada. Japan with the United States, it's -3. Japan with Canada, it is -8. So that is the expected difference between these two countries. Inflation differential, right? And here is the nominal interest rate here. In Japan, 5%. In your United States, it is 8%. In Canada, it is 13%. And you see the, wait, and you see the return to investors after considering exchange rate adjustments. Whether you invest in Japan, you are in Japan. Whether you invest in Japan, invest in US, invest in Canada, you ended up earning same return, 5%. So no matter where you are, if international future effect holds, it means it's better to invest in your own country. because if you invest in other countries, you will be ended up earning the same return. So, and you see here, the real return is the same. So that's why, if first of all, where you can apply the international Fisher effect, if you see that the real interest rate is the same all over the world, then you can believe on international Fisher effect and PPP. If real interest rate is higher, then you can just follow interest rate parity, and it says that higher is the interest, the currency will appreciate. So look at the second example, that is United States. So in United States, the interest rate is 8%. So you will be ended up earning 8% no matter where you invest. Either you invest in Japan or you invest in Canada, you will be ended up earning 8%. Right? And your return would be 6% due to the inflation, and 2% is the real one. Right? And if you are in Canada, your interest rate was 13%, you will be ended up earning 13%. 2% is real interest rate, 11% is the inflation differential. Wherever you are, whether you invest in Japan, and you will be ended up earning more because of the inflation, because of the appreciation. And if you invest in your own country, you will be earning again the 13%. Right? So the derivation of international Fisher effect, it says, because it is also depends on the purchasing power parity. So here, the relationship between interest rate differential between two countries is expected to. So remember, according to IRP, this is the premium on forward is equal to 1 plus interest in home divided by 1 plus interest in foreigner minus 1. According to IFE, we say that the exchange rate of the foreign currency will be appreciated or depreciated according to the interest rate differential, or approximately is the interest rate in home and interest rate in foreign country. Right? The PPP says that the foreign exchange rate depends on 1 plus inflation in home, 1 plus inflation in foreigner minus 1. Right? So difference is this. The IFE says it is the difference in interest rate. PPP say that it is the difference in inflation. IRP says that the forward premium is equal to interest rate is home minus interest in foreign. Right? So that is just the basic differences between that. So summary of international Fisher effect is that relatively high local interest rates, which means in that interest rate, inflation is higher. When inflation is higher, it means we can afford foreign products, so our imports will increase, our export will decrease, and this pushes our currency to depreciate. Concept is the same. Scenario 2, relatively low home interest rate, which means our local inflation is going to be decreased. Local inflation going to be decreased, which means our exports will be increased, our imports will be decreased. What happen? Our currency, home currency, will appreciate. If it's similar, then no effect, no effect, no effect. Understand? If you understand that, then let's please do this example. So I am giving you 5 minutes to do this example. I just want you to pause the video and read this question by yourself, and then we talk about its solution.